It started with a scream that sliced through the silence of the dawn. In the dim light of the courtyard, Lorene Vela stood barefoot, clutching the crumpled letter that had shattered her world. She read it once more, each word carving itself deeper into her chest until the ink seemed written in her own blood. The letter was not from a stranger. It was from her husband, Vyric, a man whose voice had once been her safe place and whose eyes had been her shelter. It was short, almost cruel in its economy, telling her that he was leaving, that he had found something better, someone better, and that he was taking more than just his love with him. Lorene's hands shook, but not from heartbreak. No, heartbreak was something she had been trained to survive. This was something different. This was betrayal, deep and deliberate. The Vyric family had always been admired in Oregon City. Their sprawling, glass-fronted villa on the hill was more than a home. It was a symbol of stability and success. Vyric managed the family's financial empire, Vyric Holdings, a network of investments and luxury properties. Lorene had been the public face, polished, poised, always smiling in magazine spreads and charity galas. They were the picture-perfect couple, and yet the picture had been painted over a rotting frame. She had felt the cracks for months, subtle glances at his phone, late-night absences disguised as business meetings, a new cologne she didn't recognize. But she hadn't expected it to come to this, a cold, typed letter left under the stone planter where she would be sure to find it. What hurt most was not that he had left, but that he had taken her younger brother, Corin, with him. Corin, who Lorene had practically raised after their parents died in a car crash, had been her anchor. She had paid for his education, given him a place in the family business, shielded him from his own reckless decisions. And now, Vyric and Corin were gone together, partners in business, and as she would soon learn, partners in treachery. By noon, the family's lawyers arrived with documents. They told her, without meeting her eyes, that Vyric had legally restructured Vela Holdings weeks ago, transferring controlling shares to himself and Corin. She had been quietly pushed out. Every signature was hers, though she didn't remember signing them. The lawyers called it pre-signed authorizations, a convenience she had agreed to years ago for quick business dealings. Now, those papers were knives. For the rest of the day, she moved like a shadow through her own house, ignoring the ringing phones and the whispers from the staff. She walked into Vyric's office, still smelling faintly of his cologne, and stared at the bare desk. The safe was open and empty. Even the photograph of their wedding day, which had sat there for 12 years, was gone. That night, when the city outside her window glittered with life, Lorene sat in the dark, her knees pulled to her chest. She did not cry. Tears were too soft for what she was feeling. Instead, she made a promise to herself. She would not be destroyed quietly. She would not be forgotten. Vyric and Corin had taken everything she had built, and so she would take everything they thought they had secured. Her first move was to reach out to someone she hadn't spoken to in years, Doreen Molvik. Doreen had been Vyric's former business partner before a bitter split. The man was dangerous in the way someone becomes dangerous after losing everything and deciding they no longer care about rules. He agreed to meet her in a dim, empty cafe on the east side of the city. His hair had gone gray, but his eyes still burned. "I heard about what happened," he said, leaning forward. "I assume you're not here for sympathy." Lorene slid an envelope across the table. Copies of the fraudulent transfer documents, photographs of offshore accounts she had dug up from old backups. Doreen studied them, a slow smile curving his lips. "You want them ruined," he said. It wasn't a question. "I want them erased," she replied. Doreen introduced her to people who operated in the shadows of Oregon. A woman named Malis, who specialized in corporate leaks, a quiet man named Norik, who could follow someone without being seen. They became her silent allies, each of them with their own reasons for wanting Veyric and Corin to fall. In the weeks that followed, Lorene began to dismantle their empire, piece by piece. She leaked documents to financial regulators, sparking investigations. She fed carefully crafted rumors to investors, triggering panic and stock sell-offs. She orchestrated a fake whistleblower scandal that painted Veyric as a man laundering money through shell companies. All the while, she kept her distance, never appearing in public except at charity events, smiling for cameras as if nothing had happened. But it wasn't enough. She didn't just want them financially destroyed. She wanted them to feel what she had felt. She discovered that Veyric's someone better was a woman named Selena, a young marketing executive with ambitions bigger than their loyalty. Lorene found ways to whisper doubts into Selena's ear, anonymous messages about Veyric's lies, photographs of him with other women, financial reports showing that he had quietly siphoned money from her projects. It didn't take long before Selena began to pull away, creating cracks in Veyric's new life. Corin was harder. He had always been impulsive, but now he was guarded, almost paranoid. Still, Lorene found a way in. She learned that he had been secretly investing in a high-risk cryptocurrency project under a fake name. She fed him inside information, false but convincing, that the project was about to explode in value. When he moved all his assets into it, the fake news unraveled. He lost everything in a single day. By the third month, Veyric and Corin were drowning. Their accounts were frozen, their investors gone, their reputations smeared across every business magazine. But Lorene wasn't done. She arranged one final blow, and public auction of the hilltop villa. She bought it through a shell company, ensuring they didn't know it was her until they were forced to hand over the keys. On the day she walked back into her home, Veyric was standing in the driveway, looking thinner, older, angrier. Corin was beside him, pale and silent. Veyric stepped forward, his voice low. "Was this all you? Everything?" Lorene met his gaze, her face unreadable. "You took my life," she said softly. "I just took it back." Then she walked past them, into the house, and closed the door. But revenge is never clean. In the months that followed, whispers about Lorene began to spread, about how she had orchestrated the downfall, about the allies she had made in the shadows. Some said she was brilliant. Others said she was dangerous. She didn't care. She had learned something important. Betrayal changes you, but revenge defines you. And in the glittering city of Oregon, power was the only love that lasted.